welcome to the Jeddah Corniche circuit here in Saudi Arabia. Home to Formula 1 racing, Formula E now comes for a spin, and we leave Diriyah to join Jeddah. So, let's go over and hear what happened in the press conference.
Welcome to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for rounds 3 and 4 of the 2024-25 ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. We're going to be hearing from some of the drivers in just a second, but first please welcome the three gentlemen in front of me. Team principals Tommaso Volpe from Nissan Formula E team on the right, with James Barclay from Jaguar TCS Racing in the middle, and Roger Griffiths, Andretti Formula E team principal on the left. We're going to start with you, Tommaso. After a tricky first round, you had some success last time out in Mexico. How are the team feeling about their chances of building on that success here with a double-header in Saudi Arabia?
Well, I hope well. To be honest, the first race was very unfortunate. We had a little issue in the system, obviously, and it was very frustrating because we showed strong pace already in the first race. So it was very frustrating, but it didn't change our confidence that this season we can have good results. So we come also to this race obviously very confident, but we also know that we have the pit boost, which is a new thing to manage, and there is a big learning curve for everyone. So there is a big question mark who will start learning and finding new things, and also we know that this season many teams will be stronger, manufacturers, and even teams and manufacturers that might seem not particularly strong at the beginning will recover for sure.
You obviously mentioned pit boost there. I know a lot of people are looking forward to finally seeing in action tomorrow. How much more strategy consideration do you have to factor in with pit boost now enabled in this first race?
Definitely is another layer, and it multiplies the possible scenarios that you have to manage. So obviously you need to, exactly the job I suppose everybody has done before coming here is to try to anticipate any kind of scenario that might happen during the race. But then reality always surprises engineers, so there might be new things happening and situations that might need an improvisation or a very fast time of reaction. So let's see. I'm sure that if either we end up with an ideal scenario which is the same for everyone, or we end up with a lot of actions and different performances on the track.
We've seen the new Gen 3 Evo car at 2 existing tracks that we've raced at before. Obviously, this is the first new track that we'll see the Gen 3 Evo car at. How well do you think this circuit will suit the package you have at the moment?
Well, this is a fast circuit. Well, Formula 1 is very fast, so it will be probably fast for us as well. So definitely it suits the fact that these cars are faster than last year with attack mode and the start. So yes, I guess we will experience again the big gap in performances between cars with attack mode and cars without it. I guess it will be very entertaining, both races. And then let's see how the drivers will enjoy it, because usually this makes a huge difference as well.
Grazie, Tommaso. We'll move on to you, James. Much like Tommaso, actually, a couple of very different races for the team in terms of success. How confident are you of a good points haul here in Saudi Arabia this weekend?
Yeah, firstly, it's great to be here and nice to be back in Saudi Arabia, a country which has been growing year on year that we've been coming, so really excited for the first time to be here in Jeddah as well. As you say, yeah, winning the opening race this season was a great start. We took a lot away from Mexico, which clearly, sometimes in sport you got to take those learnings, and definitely we took a lot of motivation away from Mexico in terms of things we felt we could do. So yes, we're looking forward to putting ourselves back in a position to get some really strong points here. This year is really competitive, we're seeing that, and we always knew it would be. So yeah, we're just motivated by another race, another opportunity, and to put into practice what we've been working on since Mexico.
You've got a driver that's very much used to being in the mix, who's currently on 0 points after a couple of races, and I know the team, yourself and Nick Cassidy, wouldn't want to be in that situation. How do you manage Nick's mindset when he is in difficult moments like this?
I think it's difficult if you don't know why. In our case, it's very clear. Nick was in a position fighting for maybe even a win in Sao Paulo. He's fighting for the podium. So there's no lack of performance from the team or the car, which means we can't be competitive and he shouldn't be scoring points. Sometimes you have things outside of your control, you know, a little bit in the case in Sao Paulo with that contact that damaged his steering that obviously ultimately took him and Pascal out of the race. And then, yeah, you have races like we had in Mexico where actually, you know, with the legality point, he would have been through to the qualifying dual stages and could have had a very different race. So we know the data, we know the core ingredients are there. It's just a case of staying consistent and staying confident that it will come, and for sure, I have no question it will come for Nick.
As I've asked Tommaso about Pit Boost, it feels like I should ask you as well. How are you approaching this new technology and this new moment for Formula E?
Yeah, like everyone else. Preparing. If we're golf players, we're trying to hit as many golf balls as possible, and that's what we've been doing as a team. We've been looking at how this could play out in the race format and preparing ourselves for the race with the pit stop. And so it brings a whole other layer of strategy, and we already had a lot of strategy in Formula E. It definitely puts an even more greater emphasis on the strategists within the team. The drivers have a part to play as well. Even if you look at how tight the pit boxes are, where the cars have to stop, there's a lot of details to get right. So it just comes down to preparation. And there will be curveballs which will get thrown to us. Not everyone is going to, you can't expect everyone to have it all nailed. That's sport. It will throw up curveballs, and we'll all learn, we'll all evolve, and we'll all get better at it. But it's going to be exciting. It's definitely going to throw a new element into the race. And I'm rest assured Roger and Tommaso and their teams as well as ours are looking at it, agonizing over what can we do, where can we get the advantage, and we'll find out on Friday. We'll learn a lot from that.
Hopefully a birdie rather than a bogey, to go back to your golf analogy
exactly
there.
Right.
Thank you, James. Roger, we'll move on to you. Obviously, you did push the factory team back in Mexico. Where do you feel you are in comparison to them? Are you on a par now?
Well, first off, you know, thank you once again to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for having us here. You know, after 7 years in racing, 6 seasons racing in Diriyah, now here in Jeddah, and super excited to be here. I mean, where are we at? I think we like to think we punch above our weight. You know, obviously we haven't had quite the same access to the learnings around the Gen 3 Evo car as the factory team has had with their manufacturer testing program, but we're catching up fast. You know, a huge amount of effort has gone into our off-track preparation, particularly our understanding around simulators and how the car feels there. And great credit to Jack Crawford, our reserve and development driver, who's been putting in a lot of hours there. So, you know, are we quite there yet? No. Are we fast catching up? I think yes. So we've certainly seen a more competitive team in the opening 2 rounds than we had at, say, the tail end of season 10. So very pleased with the way that off-season development work has gone.
There were obviously good points for Jake Dennis last time out in Mexico, but also a good performance from Nico Müller as he adapts to the new team and the new car. How do you feel he's getting to grips with both of those things?
He's been developing super well. I mean, he's a very professional driver. It's something that we've seen immediately, really. You know, a driver that's been groomed by a manufacturer. We see the discipline in his approach, his work ethic. He's pushing Jake pretty hard. He's got Jake even more engaged than he already has been. You know, he's getting to know the team. He's a very friendly character. We're trying to give him an environment where he can grow with us as well. You know, not to put any barriers in his way. He's very keen to come to the factory to be working with the engineering group to get to know the mechanics better. So, you know, he's a great asset to the team. You know, he's learning the car as quickly as possible. He's had the opportunity not only to work with us, but as a factory Porsche driver, he's been exposed to their environment as well. So I think we're giving him as much opportunity as possible to get up to speed as quickly as possible.
And here is your designated pit boost question. I'm not going to ask you the same question here. How do you envisage the pit boost coming in will change your use of attack mode in this first race this weekend?
I mean, it's not a straightforward answer. I mean, I think we can all have the most ideal strategy in the world, but we know Formula E, it lives and is famed for the chaos. And we can, you know, look to use perhaps an early attack mode to try and break the convention to get out in front. It really depends on where we qualify as well. I mean, that plays a huge part of it. So I think we have to approach this very open-mindedly. As like I said, you know, you can have the perfect strategy, then something happens, puts you on the back foot. I think we could see some surprise, I won't say winners, but cars in the top 5, cars that wouldn't potentially normally be there just because of the way scenarios play out. What we have seen is attack mode is incredibly powerful now. I mean, you know, the combination of the, you know, the high performance, the 4-wheel drive, the new tire, you know, it's made it really exciting to watch. And rather last year you were trying to get rid of it. Now you were excited about the anticipation of using it.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Roger. We've got time for some questions from the assembled media here. So if you'd like to ask a question, please raise your hand. I think I'm going to have to give you the mic.
Nick Golding from Racing News 365. A question for James. Ahead of Mexico, Nick was saying that Jaguar are a bit behind Porsche. If that is the case, if so, how's that happen and why? Or is that actually a bit of mind games on Nick's behalf?
Well, listen, we won the first race in Sao Paulo. It's fair to say, you look at the time sheets, you could see we're a little bit off on one lap pace, being really honest, and you can see that. We don't need to beat around the bush on that. But the reality is, we still won the race with very strong race pace. Both cars were fighting for the podium. So we have got the inherent pace there, but you have to have everything absolutely right in Formula E if you're consistently going to fight for race wins. So, you know, that kind of comment comes from a review that we all have, which is we need to kind of get everything to a point where we can execute all elements of the weekend really, really well. But we made that improvement in Mexico. We saw 3 of our 4 cars potentially going through the duels, but we had the issue on the illegality point. So from our perspective, coming into this year, we introduced an all-new powertrain and some new concepts with that. And we've taken a view that, you know, we have to have run this car for 2 years. So it's a little bit like you have to play the long game as well. And if you look at our start to the start of this generation, we took a little bit of a while getting on top of our I-Type 6, and that went on to be, you know, the most successful Formula E car we've produced and won more races, more pole positions. And you know, we judge us by our season, is what I would say, not by the first of 2 races. So that's the way to look at it. And we think we've got some really good potential, but we need to work to get that out of the car. And this weekend will be another opportunity for us to test and learn. But I think we've got some really, really good progress since Mexico, and let's wait and see. Everyone is going to continually move forward. That's the point, though. It's not a static target, but from our perspective, yeah, judge us by the season, not by a couple of races. And we've won one of those races.
Thank you very much. One question over here.
Yes, hello. Mr. Tommaso, what key improvements has Nissan made to challenge the top teams this season?
Sorry, I couldn't hear well. Sorry.
What key improvements has Nissan made to challenge the top teams this season?
What?
Okay. Sorry for that. Well, obviously, I think each manufacturer, I mean, on the car side, each manufacturer tried to push even more the level of efficiency of cars, I suppose, and to invest even more on software to make the vehicle dynamics better and the vehicle efficiency in general. So I guess yes, back in this season. So we know that everybody is pushing, so the competition will be harder and harder, but we also feel that we can consider ourselves a credible competitor in the sport now after 3 years of transformation, I would say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tommaso. Thank you very much for your questions. Do we have time for one more very quick question? Just here.
First of all, I'm Rawan Hamdan from Sharq al-Awsat newspaper, the Middle East. I welcome you guys to Saudi Arabia. Welcome back and welcome to Jeddah. You have been the first motorsport coming to Saudi Arabia, 2018. 6 years in the UNESCO World Heritage Site at Diriyah. I want to know, how was this 6 years to you in Diriyah, and how will be looking forward in the fastest circuit in the world with the Gen 3 Evo, which is the fastest accelerating car in the whole motorsport. Thank you.
So I'm happy to start. I think, firstly, as Roger said and as I said, it's been an absolute privilege to be coming here for the last 6 years to Diriyah. the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia have kind of adopted Formula E early on, and Formula E likewise, committing to come here. And I think it's been a fantastic journey. It was an incredible race track in Diriyah. In fact, a lot of the drivers, it was one of their favorite of the calendar. So some of them are a little bit sad to be going away from that layout. It is a very challenging layout. It left no room for error, particularly in qualifying. But it produced some great races. So fantastic to be racing in Riyadh in that experience. Coming here to Jeddah, though, we're all really excited. This is an amazing facility. In a short space of time is already quite an iconic track. And as you say, it brings a different challenge from a car point of view. But it's a beautiful location on the coast here, and I think it's another great step for the championship to be racing here. So yeah, pleased to be here, pleased to be continuing racing in Saudi Arabia, and it's been incredible to see how much the country is evolving since we've been coming here as well, and it's great that we're part of that journey with Saudi Arabia.
I mean, from the Andretti perspective, racing here in Saudi Arabia has been extremely kind to us. We won the very first race here in Saudi Arabia. Our relationship with BMW kicked off with a race win in Gen 2. We've sat on the pole. We've had additional race wins here with Alexander Sims, Jake Dennis last year. So we love coming to this place. We also have a lot of friends and partners here in Saudi Arabia, extremely kind to us, very welcoming, and that's generally what we found of this country as a whole. It's a country that's welcomed the Formula E community with open arms, and that's not always the reception that we've received in other locations around the world. So very happy to be coming here, and very happy that there's a long-term future for us, and that they enjoy our presence, and we love to be able to support. And as James says, I mean, we had the opportunity to do the first ever women's test here to celebrate the fact when women were given the opportunity to drive. So we've seen the progression in this country, and we're very supportive of continuing our relationship.
Okay, we have to move on, I'm afraid. Thank you very much for your questions. Thank you for your answers. The drivers' press conference will follow in a matter of seconds. Okay, please welcome our three drivers here ahead of rounds 3 and 4 of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship here in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. From right to left, we have Antonio Felix da Costa from Tag Heuer Porsche, Taylor Barnard from Neon McLaren, and Stoffel van Dorn from Maserati MSG Racing. And we'll start with Antonio. Antonio, you've had a nice few weeks being the championship leader. You must come into this weekend feeling rested, feeling positive, and ready to have a crack at this brand new track for Formula E.
Yeah, it's been, business as usual, to be honest. I think from midway over last season, we've definitely clicked in terms of performance. The package, the team and myself, and we definitely had a good start to the season this year. So many unknowns this year, to be honest, with the new tire, the new way of using the attack mode, now the pit boost this weekend. So, to be honest, we've just been putting our heads down and digging deep to try and anticipate all of the scenarios that might happen to us. But yeah, we had a little bit of time off. I did race the 24 hours of Daytona, so spent 2 weeks out there right after Mexico, and it didn't really feel like a holiday, to be honest.
Speaking of pit boost, as someone that's been here from the start, are you pleased that pit boost does not mean you have to get out of the car and get into another car?
Yeah, I mean, my shins suffered and my knees suffered a lot, and I'm a small guy. I think some of the bigger guys were suffering more when we had to jump from one car to the other. But I think this clearly highlights the trajectory of Formula E, of the growth and in technology of Formula E in only 10 years. Like, we're still very, very young, and to think that 6 years ago we were still changing cars. We were still, driving at a third of the speed, not being able to complete a full race with a single battery, And now not only we're doing that, but we're going so much faster. The technology we're having in the cars is huge. So yeah, it's been fun to be a part of this. I think it's important to also, take the stigma out of people, somebody that is still not convinced of buying an electric car for their day-to-day life, because you have to stop for hours to charge it. I think this is another big step in getting that out of their heads. We're going to be charging 10% in 30 seconds. That's huge, So yeah, I'm happy to be a part of this and to see it hit the track. hopefully it goes without any issues. It would be bad to see anybody having their race ruined because something malfunctioned, but you know, it's part of the game. Hopefully everything goes well for everybody, and we can have a first positive viewing of the pit boost.
I know a lot of fans love that this is an evening and night race. Do you think there's any benefit to you? You mentioned Daytona, to being involved in racing at night. Is there any benefit to that as a driver?
It's not really dark here. I don't think I even changed my visor, to be honest. You know, we have so much lighting on the track. It is cool to race under the lights, for sure. The liveries come alive and some of the helmets come alive, and I think it's a very cool environment. But it's a totally different feeling to driving at night in Le Mans, for example, where the only lights you have, it's actually your headlights from the car. So it's a completely different thing. I think the vibes are somehow similar, but yeah, we don't really struggle for vision here.
Just checking. Thank you very much, Antonio. You'll get an opportunity to ask questions after Taylor and Stoffel have spoken. Taylor, we'll move on to you. Obviously, a strong start to your season, getting a podium in your first race as a full-time Neil McLaren driver. What's achievable this weekend in these two races here?
Well, I think it's been a good start to the season, obviously. I feel like we've got a good, strong package. In Mexico, qualifying didn't quite go our way, but I still felt the recovery that we did during the race was very strong. Yeah, like I said, I feel quick, I feel good within the team. I feel like we've got a strong package. So the aim is to be high in the points, and a podium would be great.
At the moment, you're mixing it up. I mean, you're sat in between two former champions here. You're mixing it up as a rookie for a first-season driver. You're mixing it up with these guys that have won world championships before. Is there ever much consideration that goes through your head of how you've jumped in and kind of hit the ground running?
I think part of it was the fact that I was a reserve driver last year, so I learned quite a lot. Coming into this season, I don't really feel like a rookie. I guess technically I am, but I feel well prepared before every event. I feel quite comfortable within the car, and I believe in the team and the package that I have. So yeah, I don't really feel like a rookie, to be honest.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but you're one of two drivers racing this weekend that has raced at this track before. You raced here last year in F2. I think you came 13th in both races, so I'm sure you'll be hoping to finish higher than 13th this weekend. Do you think having raced here gives you an advantage, given that the track is so different to what you raced on last time out?
Yeah, of course the layout is slightly different, but I think just being at the event already once, knowing the tarmac, knowing the kind of environment that you will be in, I guess it helps slightly. At least I'm not going to an event like Mexico where everyone else has 5 years of experience and I have none, so at least it puts me on a level playing field, which is obviously slightly to my advantage.
Thank you very much, Taylor. I'll move on to you, Stoffel. 2 top 10 finishes so far this season. What do you think is possible this weekend, and is there more you can get out of the car at the moment?
Yeah, we'll see. Obviously, yeah, the big talking point this weekend is a pit boost, so that's going to be a little bit different for everyone, and something everyone's put a lot of effort and preparation into that. Like Antonio said, I just hope that everything runs smooth for everyone. We get a clean sequence of pit stops for everyone, deciding their own strategies, and then I think, yeah, from our side, we've had a decent start of the year. We haven't nailed everything yet. We've not qualified well, and we've raced well. So I think the point for us to improve is to qualify ourselves a little bit higher up, so we can at least start in the right group. And yeah, that's going to be a bit of our focus for this weekend.
I saw you out on the pit walk, on the track walk earlier on. You've obviously probably done some prep in the sim as well, I would hope. How much of a challenge is this track specifically for the drivers this weekend?
Well, it's I would say it's a permanent track. It's a little bit different than some of the pure street circuits that we have. A track where all the simulator tools that we have, they're very accurate. It's going to be quite particular between the two races, the style of racing. I think we're going to see a big switch from race 1 to race 2, how that is gonna develop. So yeah, plenty of action. I mean, I think everyone's done their preparation as we usually do. So now it's down to business and make sure we execute on that.
Excellent. I know there'll be a lot of questions here, so I'll open it up slightly early to anyone that would like to ask any of our drivers a question. Okay, here we go.
Lucas and Stoffel, hello. You both have raced in Diriyah before. How different are your car setups this time around at the Jeddah circuit?
Yeah, I mean, Diriyah was a very different track to this one. you know, we went there for a couple of years. I think it, you know, had its own character. The drivers, you know, really loved racing there, and I think the big challenge there was always kind of guessing the track grip. You know, from year to year there was different tarmacs. Sometimes there was more dust than other times, and that was really having a big influence on the track condition. I think here it's more predictable in a way. You know, we have some data from Formula One about the tarmac, about the roughness. It doesn't, you know, look dirty at all. It's in perfect conditions for Formula E, this circuit, let's say. So yeah, I think the only change is maybe the car setup is a little bit different to suit a track like this than Saudi, or than Riyadh, sorry.
Yeah, similar comments. I think just the main thing is really the tarmac. I think in Diriyah, even though the layout was probably one of the coolest layouts we've ever been to in Formula E, not taking anything away from this one, but I think the grip will start at a much higher point here this weekend, and yeah, I think the cars can be run a little bit stiffer to start with.
Thank you very much. We've got anyone else over this side? No? Okay. Oh, let's go. Gentlemen standing up for ease, and then we'll come to you next.
Right. Question to Stoffel and about Taylor. You're a veteran yourself, and Mr. Antonio over here as well. This is Taylor's 5th race. How quickly do you think he has picked up so far in Formula E?
I didn't understand.
This is Taylor's 5th race in Formula E, and given that you and Antonio are veterans in Formula E at the moment, how quickly do you think Taylor have picked up with the series?
I think Taylor's done a very good job. You know, getting a podium in his 2nd race actually, because he raced in Monaco last year as well. Yeah, he's done a very good job. I think it's, you know, Formula E goes in swings. You know, you can arrive, you can have some really good days straight away, and then sometimes Formula E bites you as well. You know, you kind of get to a certain point where things don't go your way, and then it's very easy to sometimes overthink things. But I think it's a learning process for everyone. I think everyone has been, you know, all the champions, all the guys that have won, that done well, they've been through tough times. And it's how you kind of deal with those situations and overcome those. I think that's the weirdness sometimes about Formula E, is that, you know, everything needs to be picture perfect to do well.
Yeah, it's definitely done very well. I think, not taking anything away from Taylor, I think he's a very future threat for all of us. And I think the scary thing is just the team he's with. You know, they have won 2 championships. They are probably one of the best technical teams on the paddock. Very experienced teammate as well. So he's got everybody, a lot of talented people around him to speed up the process of getting used to everything.
Hello guys. Welcome back to Saudi Arabia, and welcome to Jeddah. We're so happy to having you. My question will be for you both, and then I have a question for Taylor. The first question is, you guys have been in Riyadh, in Diriyah, like for 6 years, and Formula E was the first motorsport coming to Saudi Arabia. And I want to know, how was the feeling to race in a World Heritage UNESCO site like Diriyah? How was that, and how was the feeling?
I have great memories of Saudi in general and Diriyah. I won the first ever race there 6 or 7 years ago, 6 years ago. And also to see how the country has developed, the speed of development of the country. I mean, from simple things to being able to just jump in an Uber to going out for dinner, and you know, it just feels like, yeah, a normal place. And it's been great to create some history here for Formula E. I think we've produced some amazing races here, and yeah, first time in Jeddah for us. I think the Diriyah track, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're building something else there, so that's why we have to be here. And yeah, things running their natural course, and I think, you know, Formula E has a big tie to Saudi Arabia. They're also heavy investors in the series, so it's great to give back to Saudi Arabia, and we are always super well received here, so it's a race that I really enjoy coming to.
We're going to have to wrap that up now, unfortunately, because of the driver's media pen. Unfortunately, we ran over time. I'm sorry. You'll be able to ask the drivers in the media pen. The media pen will be taking place outside this room straight away. Thank you.
Green light, and we're underway then for the first practice session of the Jeddah E-Prix, no longer in Diriyah, but still in Saudi Arabia. 5 minutes in, we've had the full course yellow test, and we've just had a spin down there at turn 4 as well for Taylor Barnard. He's got going again. Hello everybody, welcome to live coverage here on JB Motorsports and on Formula E Zone. I'm Joshua Birch, alongside me Jack Pickering and Jack. We're all set for what is a very interesting weekend here in Saudi Arabia. New circuit, Formula One bound, of course. We've sort of nipped and tucked at the knifey, spoony circuit layout, and we've got a rather interesting one lined up.
Yeah, this is going to be a huge weekend this weekend. We got pit boost coming in that I'm sure we're going to talk about throughout this session. We're now on the Jeddah Corniche circuit that Formula One have been using for the last few years, although a truncated version, so we don't get all the fast slalom section that Formula One usually do. But it's going to be a very interesting weekend. I'm actually looking forward to this one.
Pit boost weekend, strategy weekend. We've updated our timing tower graphics for you to indicate which driver is in the pit lane. You're going to need to know that come race 2. Of course, Friday race 1. It'll be a normal one. Norman Nato just coming through the back half of the circuit there. Exit of, it's hard to tell this area where he is. It's down at...
this is coming into turn 8. This is the bus stop chicane here.
So it's what is Formula 1's layout, turn 20. This was then, for them, turn 5, 6 and 7. Just having an overcorrection on entry. But Nato controlling it nice. As he comes down for Nissan, he's up by 5.1 seconds, and they will be going on full power lap time. Well, initial thoughts then, Jack. We had the rookie session earlier on, which sort of gripped the track up nicely. Now the big boys are out there. But it's a circuit which has very little dust on it because it's used all year round as a permanent road facility. And it just feels a bit Formula One-esque. We're losing street circuits.
Yes, it's important to think that Formula One has built this track as a street circuit for multiple years. However, this is a purpose-built track, so it was designed for Formula One when they first came here in 2021. But we're just running on a little on a truncated version of the circuit. But yeah, it's a nice wide circuit. So we are going to see lots of overtaking, especially like what we've seen with attack mode this year, and yeah, it's definitely feeling a lot wider.
Hughes has lap time deleted for track limits as well. Got another yellow flag, this time down at turn 8. That's at the chicane on the back stretch. We've got Tictum in there. Got a gaggle of cars actually down there. Gone green now though.
Yeah, I think that might have been Tictum because it looks like he's gone through the runoff. That runoff, because it's a bus stop chicane, but the runoff is part of the Formula One circuit. They like Mexico will have to come to a complete stop before going on and through that section if they do use the runoff at the bus stop chicane on the back straight.
Kind of weird that we've got these chicanes in order to brake and recharge the battery at the first race of the year, where we have, or what is it? Oh yeah, pit boost. It's kind of it's kind of ridiculous. Let's add in more recharge points to the race that we actually get a recharge cable plugged into the back of the car. It's a bit daft.
It's baffling for me because mainly because the races are the same length. So the race on Friday and the race on Saturday are the same length. It's just the one tomorrow has the pit boost, so they'll be pitting and charging up. It wouldn't, which confuses me greatly, because if we go back to the Gen 1 days, the double headers they had, so they had a shorter race on the Saturday, longer race on the Sunday, and now we've got something where we can charge the cars, and they're doing shorter, and they're still doing short races.
It's daft. It really is daft. If my opinion, this should add at least 5 or 6 laps to the race. We're pushing an hour now, but we should be more. But
yeah.
What have been your thoughts then on the opening 2 races? 2 vastly different races for Gen 3.
Yes. So when we talked, when I was out in Madrid, I was very, very excited for the season, and it felt like the most exciting season that we were going to embark on in a while, with how attack mode has changed, with the idea of pit boost coming in, and so obviously we're yet to see how pit boost will work, but the attack mode has completely changed it on its head, and people are using the attack mode like it was intended to now. And so honestly, I think it's added so much to the race. And yes, we've seen in both races so far that it is sort of luck, and when you activate your attack mode, and it happened to Mitch in Sao Paulo and to Ollie in Mexico, but it's that's what happens. You did strategy to perfection, and luck came your way, and you capitalised on it.
Oh, a little bit of curve there for Jean-Eric Verne. He's having problems with the chicane. Locked up earlier on down at 8, 9 and 10. I agree with you. The opening 2 races are very much strategic luck to get into the right place at the right time. And Mitch Evans as well, counting on 2 red flags in Sao Paulo. And the sort of exciting drama that was Mexico, as we go hear from Cassidy.
I'm sure they've run many.
Aggressive on initial throttle. My traction and drivability is not there. I want something more smoother, more easy.
Something more smoother and easy for Cassidy as well. And that's worrying because he's my pick a winner for tomorrow to come in already. Muller's damaged the wing.
I think he might be on a cooldown. Like we can't really see from this angle. The wing looks all right to me. But yeah, not sure.
It was slow.
Yeah, no, it looked alright in that 1 second of close-up that we got, but yeah, it's interesting to see Formula E cars on this circuit. I just wish that we because this circuit, it just feels a bit too truncated. Obviously, we can't do the full. We can't do the full Formula 1 circuit because otherwise the lap times will be upwards of 2 minutes.
Whoa!
However, there's a McLaren that was blocking Da Costa. Da Costa's fuming. That's coming through into turn 7 there, so that's just before the bus stop chicane.
It is Sam
Da Costa
Bird.
fuming.
Yeah, it's Sam Bird who was coasting, and Da Costa having his hand up and gesturing to him. That was very nearly an accident because it's sort of, yes, it's in plain sight. You can see the drawing distance coming, but you're accelerating so fast coming out of turn 11. You're sort of surprised how quickly it all comes towards you in 1 second.
Well, yeah, and this is something that we saw in the rookie practice as well, between the Envision of Zach O'Sullivan and the Jaguar of Jamie Chadwick, where Jamie just wasn't told that Zach was on a flyer. And they came together coming into that very section of circuit.
Well, I would say dive bomb like a missile, but saying that in these parts of town, historically, is not usually the greatest ideas.
No. and also in that session, Kvyat was there, so yeah.
That's true, yeah. Nobody expects the Danny Kvyat torpedo. Tom Brooks described this in commentary earlier on as the... I'm going to interrupt myself because we've got Cairo down there.
Going in so far, because we've got a brand new circuit this weekend, things like pit boost coming on. Does that give you confidence that there might be a chance to shake things up a little bit?
Yes, obviously, we have a new partnership with Porsche this year. For the team, it's a new car to learn, new software, new car. We are the only team basically swapping the manufacturer's supply. Used to be our own things, and now we work with Porsche. So with a very limited testing in Hirama and then 2 race weekend, we try our best to learn the car as quick as possible. Huge fans from Porsche, they are really helpful. So hopefully this week is the first double header. We got more track time. We also got Epi0 to gain additional track times with the rookie. Mikel did a good job this morning. A few hours ago. So we hope to making a bigger progress with this weekend.
So of course we've got pit boost coming into play tomorrow. What do you think that might do for your chances within a race? Does it really mix things up where you suddenly have extra opportunities to maximise your points?
Yeah, definitely. It's going to create extra opportunities for everyone. It's going to create more uncertainty. We try our best to prepare all the scenario. Obviously, it's the first goal for everyone. There could be surprise in swinging in the good side or bad side, but you know, we try to do a lot of practice for the boost. We try to consider a lot of different scenario with the strategy. So let's see.
Other exciting news for the team, of course, introducing Idris Elba into the squad. How did that come about?
That's a very cool thing. Honestly, personally, I'm really proud to be part of the journey. Obviously, with the new Hero ownership change, there have been a plan of some, you know, our investor has a good contact of celebrities, some really high-profile investor, and a few of them joining us. And you know, this is a really exciting moment for us, and a lot of pressure to the team, but in a positive way. Yeah.
Excellent stuff. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, Tom Brooks described that 8, 9, 10, 11 chicane as the sort of Spa-Francorchamps run. And I can see what he means about it. It does flow quite like the old Spa bus stop.
I do see it like that. I actually really enjoyed this that chicane on the back straight, and I think that they've done that really well. It's a little bit reminiscent of the London E-Prix track as well. On the back straight of that track, but yeah, it feels like a good. That was Jake Hughes kicking out the rear. He's on the 350 lap. But yeah, no, I do really like that chicane on the back straight, and yeah, it's probably my favourite of the chicanes on the circuit.
Hughes does go fastest on a 1:16.627, so a much better improved lap time.
Yeah, what was the fastest time from FP0? Out of curiosity, I'm not sure if you have that in front of you.
I think it was definitely the 1:18s. I can get it up.
I thought it was quicker than that. I thought it was in the 16s as well, but I could be wrong. I did only look at that earlier. I was watching it on my phone at work. So
I can tell you that the time this morning was a 1:17.184.
Ah, okay. Okay, not quite into the 1:16s, but I know that Karun was saying earlier that that the time should be in around about the 1:15 mark. So a 1:16.6. Obviously, it's free practice 1. The track will rubber up. So potentially by qualifying tomorrow, we could get into the 1:15s. Maybe a 1:14 if we're extremely fortunate.
A lot of good action, a lot of good running then coming through here as well. As Dennis just sliding out backwards. Hughes on a 1:16.627. Roland De Costa, Cassidy, Muller, Van Dorn, De Vries, Gunther, Tickton, Buemi. That's your top 10 at the moment. Riding with Jake Dennis, who's at 18th at the moment. And yeah, these chicanes are spoiling the flow of the circuit for me. Even Dennis took a second there to get into where he needed to be. And it's a lot of darting towards walls, and that could cause problems in the race, especially in a overtake situation. For me, I like the bus stop, but as Jake's coming round onto the front straight, these ones on the front straight feel a bit sort of disjointed. Especially, I don't like the first one, mainly because it's
just coming out at the final corner. You're not even on throttle for 200 meters before you have to brake and go into that first chicane. The second chicane sort of makes sense because it needs to, because halfway up the straight just before the timing line. I also like the fact that it's after the pit entry, so it means that there is a little bit of added time going through that chicane whilst people are flying into the pits, which might be interesting tomorrow for pit boost. But yeah, but yeah, that first chicane, it just feels a little bit unnecessary. When if there was only that one chicane halfway down the straight, both straights would be shorter than all the Sao Paulo straights, the straights in Shanghai, and so yeah, it doesn't really make too much sense to me why they put two. I'd understand if they had one on the straight, but two is a little bit overkill for me.
Just having a new look at the pit boost. They're testing it in this free practice session. It's the first time actually we've visibly been able to see it as much. They usually test it at the end of a practice or in a shakedown situation. And already Jaguar sort of breached the procedure because you're not allowed to double stack coming in Sunday.
Which is what they've done. One thing that I would like to note, because I have been fortunate to see it trackside, not just at Madrid last year, but at Valencia the year beforehand. Basically, there are three lights on the car that will start flashing. The two on the rear sort of, I don't want to say the rear wing, 'cause it's not really a rear wing, but the rear sort of...
The flap, yeah.
Yeah. And the one that goes down the middle of the halo. And those three lights, they will plug in, and then we'll start blinking white lights. And then the lights will, over the 30 seconds, they will get quicker and quicker and quicker until it goes to a solid white light, which is when they can release the charger and off they go.
It's going to be fascinating.
We can see, so you will be able to get an idea of where they are in the pit boost section.
So the action will continue then as we go. And Gunther with the first sector of a 21.492.
Yeah, both DS's in 350 now.
Vern will be hopefully getting quicker and quicker, but he's running on his own. Yes, he is. He's into the last chicane now. So Vern not doing great sectors. What's his overall lap time position? 15th. He'll improve on that, but will he go ahead of Hughes? Oh, even this chicane's catching me out. It's literally just the safer barrier area. You can see where it joins up for the concrete in Formula 1. Over the line for Vern then. Second fastest, 1:16.744. Fastest of all in the third sector. Hughes was fastest sector 1, personal best sector 2. And I think this might look very good for DS Penske. A team that did look good actually in the simulation race earlier on in the year where we had pit boost, but it was again, guess who? Yeah, Porsche, who did really well then as well. And it's third for Gunther.
Yeah, DS had some problems with Max Gunther in that simulation race, if I remember correctly. But it's been given the all clear to debut here.
Many different
Here's
scenarios
on the radio.
they'll have been preparing for.
Oh, I think we missed that.
13 especially, I'm like, again, kind of getting okay, trying not to load the car too much, and then it still like snaps around in the rear. Just.
So Mitch Evans there, not happy with...
Oh, we did get Mitch, sorry.
Just in the end.
Sorry about that.
I was wondering if we would hear it as well, to be fair. It came through in time. So...
Yeah, Pascal Wehrlein now on a lap here.
Looking strong as well for Wehrlein. Fourth in the championship at the moment. Seeks a third consecutive pole position in race 1 this weekend, if he can get it sorted. But stats sort of against him. He hasn't had the best start to a season. Of course, Sao Paulo diving into the wall. Got better in Mexico.
Yeah, the Porsche powertrain so far looks absolutely mighty. It looks like it's between them and Nissan. I have been speaking to people, and people do have said that it could be a bit like season 9, where Porsche sort of ran away with it at the start, and then Jaguar sort of came back and fought Porsche for the championship. But Jaguar obviously got the win in Sao Paulo, but their pace over the course of the weekend, had it not been for that, had it not been for the
accidents,
for the accidents and the well-timed attack mode, it may not have been the same case for Mitch Evans and Jaguar.
We've got Verline and Roland proving your point there, Jack, as Nissan and Porsche won too. Yeah, Roland ahead of Verline. Maserati in there too with Jake Hughes. Out comes the pit boost. Can't tell who that was, but coming in.
No, it was one of the DS's.
This is Hughes in the pits.
It's whoever pulls that. It was Max Gunther.
There we go. And they're under investigation. Jean-Eric Verne and Max Gunther are under investigation for a pit boost infringement.
Okay, that's interesting. I'm not sure what that would be. I'm assuming it could be something like they didn't have it plugged in for the correct amount of time, or like something like that.
A double stack, yeah.
Or a double stack. But if so, Jaguar would also be on there, because we saw Jaguar come in with both their cars. So
that's true. So it could be something similar. Oh, Degrassi getting on the AstroTurf braking strip and losing the rear of the car. It's a scruffy lap here for Lola, but it's gonna be
it was a very wild lap, but it's an improvement up to 6th regardless.
He's very much throwing that Lola Yamaha apt around as we take a look into the Andretti garage. This is Dennis's radio.
Between driver and engineer.
Maybe we could go
that one moment.
a little bit softer on the front bar, if you like.
So a softer front bar.
Yeah, mechanically I'm relatively happy with the car. Maybe we could try softer front bars as well. So we got the text on the radio, but not synced up. At least Formula E are trying with new graphics this weekend. You'll see in the race a side-by-side and driver tracker. We're going to have about 4 different cameras on screen at once on Saturday's race.
Yeah, there's a wealth of new TV graphics coming in for this weekend. So and some that were trialed in the rookie session. I don't think I've seen any in this session so far.
No, I haven't seen one.
But we will be. Yeah, there will be multiple side-by-side footage. We've got the top-down drive to survive shots. Well, what is known as the drive to survive shots of the pit box, and so yeah, that was basically my view for a lot of the time in testing.
Just looking over the balcony and trying not to drop anything on the drivers.
Yeah. I dropped my phone over the side of a wall the other day.
Oh, God.
It's fine, but yeah. Thankfully, I didn't do that in the pit lane in Valencia.
Yes, that would have been the worst thing you could possibly have done.
Yeah. Wasn't there? It was in.
Rip Jack's
phone. 2010. Was it 2010 in Bahrain when Robert Kubica found a phone in his cockpit?
Oh yes. Do I check it out or do I come back in? And he said box. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
How does a mobile phone end up in a driver's cockpit? I have no idea.
Yeah.
It's one of those days.
Because 2010 it would have been pre-flashlights on phones, so
yeah.
There wouldn't be a reason to put the phone to help see better. So.
Yeah, to still hold it up like a flip phone, let the actual display be a light if you were out.
Yeah.
At a concert or something or other.
Yeah. Back when everyone used lighters instead.
Oh, that's true. Very true. Very true. Fawemi goes 5th. And Ed says Mechanic was probably putting a belt on Kubica to get a podium. Has a bet on Kubica to get a podium that season as well. Not the best year for Renault. Raul Kubica in 2010 when he moved over from BMW Sauber. He was quite annoyed actually because he left what was BMW but still Sauber, as we're going to get into it again as we're down to the pits of Nissan.
On the screen over the side of the pit lane, Oliver Rowland, top of the timesheet. a reflection of the last few races, if not the last few races of the season before. The man's on fire.
Yeah, of course, we are on fire, the team as well, and the car. But definitely Oliver is putting together, is in a very great shape. But just first laps of pre-practice one, so let's see in the race.
It's interesting when you think about, historically, the success within Gen 3. It's very much always talking about Jaguar power, Porsche power, but now it's Nissan power. It seems like you have everything to bring the fight to them, if not go one step further.
Well, I don't know one step further, but definitely we want to disturb their plans, ruin their plans possibly, but being the fight in a credible way.
Okay, let's talk about this weekend, because obviously we have the debut of Pit Boost. Feels like it's going to be a very big change to potential strategy. Attack mode going really well for you guys so far. Do you think you could capitalise on another strategy change?
Well, the Pit Boost, I think, will be a steep learning curve for everyone. So hopefully we master it since the first race, but I wouldn't be surprised if some teams that might be not considered among the best might surprise everyone else because they find a way to use it better than others. Because again, it's a very steep learning curve, and we all have a lot to learn. So we hope that we have done a very good preparation and everything will go well. So we will achieve a good result, but fingers crossed, let's see tomorrow.
But in terms of result, doing what you did in Mexico, you'll be a happy man.
Well, now we set the bar there, so we want to be at least on the podium every single race, but we know that it's motorsport, the competition is very aggressive, and it will be difficult to be always up there, but definitely this is how we start every single weekend, with this objective.
Thanks, Tommaso.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So, 9 minutes to go in this session, and half the field still in the pit lane. Majority coming back out to do some longer runs as well. And I'm just hoping that we're going to have a smooth end, as Norman Nato is flying at the moment in these two sectors. Personal best as well, out over the line to go fastest. It's a 1:16.147, Jack. This is looking good for Nissan. 1-2 at the moment, and Norman Nato arguably needing to get back up to speed, and he's throwing it in.
Yeah, Norman's really fit back into this Nissan project well. He spent a year at Andretti before he was dropped for Nico Müller, and then he came back to replace his former teammate Sasha Fenestraz. And the main reason they brought Norman in is because Sasha wasn't close enough to Ollie. Admittedly, we weren't expecting Ollie Rowland to be as quick as he was last season, but Norman's a race winner in Formula E. He is a multiple podium finisher as well. And he has the speed. But his Formula E seasons, in every team that he's been in, whether it's Venturi, Nissan, or Andretti, he always has a bit of a slow burner season. It always takes him a little bit of a while to get warmed up, because his first win for Venturi came in the final race of the season when they'd already signed Lucas Di Grassi to race for them for the following year, so he was out of a job there. Then he came back with Nissan in season 9 and got that podium in Rome right at the end of the year. And then last year with Andretti, he got a podium in Shanghai and got a pole in Portland as well. It always seems to be that he flourishes towards the end of a season. And he just needs to sort of stay with Ollie and work with him, because Nissan, with the powertrain, with what they got a huge chance at fighting for this championship, even though Porsche looked to be the preferable option, let's say, at the moment.
Well, arguably, if you want to go for another driver who was sort of distant to the teammate last year, you've got to go with Antonio Felix da Costa, who was having a down season until we got to Misano, did a double effectively, but had one of them taken away, and sort of, I don't know, saved his career in many respects. And after that, back up there, fast as anything. And you are right, they sort of lose at the start of the season when we're doing the longer haul races and we sort of tiptoe in Europe, and it's only when we get settled that everyone goes, right, let's go.
Yeah, I remember asking Antonio in London last year if he lost by more than 25 points, how many therapy sessions was he going to book? He said none. He said none, but a
lot were taken.
Yeah. But thankfully he lost by more, because obviously he did have that Misano win taken away.
Zane Maloney, super slow-mo through the chicane, is down at turn 5 and 6.
I do like the blue and yellow of Lowly Yamaha. I'm a little bit biased as an Oxford United fan because our colours are yellow and blue.
Let's have a DeCosta.
Yeah.
The casting would be paired with
I
me.
have the sound again on the rear right. Understood. Mexico. In right-hand corners, yeah. Yes.
It's amazing that he can remember a sound in Mexico a month ago.
Yeah. Well, we've had 5 weeks between the first. So it was 5 weeks between Sao Paulo and Mexico, 5 weeks between Mexico and Diria. And don't worry, guys, it's getting way worse. 8 weeks after this weekend to the next round in Miami.
It's quite a stop-start, isn't it? Oh, and then
Yeah,
we've got this.
it seems to happen a lot. Formula E can't really capitalise on the Formula 1 off-season.
Maybe if, I don't know, they actually started doing it in January, not putting a race in December, which was on the last day of the Formula 1 race weekend of the season. So that was pretty daft to have us there.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they wanted it to be the weekend after. However, they had the FIA prize-giving awards in Rwanda that weekend, so the FIA said no. Formula E wanted to get back to the over the course of 2 years for this year because they haven't done that since COVID, and the original idea was that Diria would have been moved back, and then they went for a February slot instead. It wouldn't surprise me if they moved Jeddah back next year, but that's the thing. I think Formula E need to. We've heard rumours that Santiago might come back, that Cape Town might come back for next season, but they are still rumours at this moment in time, and so we'll have to see. But the Formula E calendar is one thing that I do critique a little bit too often.
Oh, you and me do just the same as well in terms of how much we actually want this thing to get going and to get sorted. As this is that was one of the Maseratis diving into the pit lane after the commitment line, and get a bit of a telling off for that. Roland's had a lap time deleted by the stewards. Chuck them into turn 5 as we take a look at the Jeddah skyline that's been so used to Formula 1. Now it play host to Formula E. Tictum's gone second for Cooper Cairo. That's a outstanding lap time there. 1:16.223.
Yeah, Beckman 7th as well, so looking good for the Kiros. I did speak to Florian Medley in Madrid and asked him about the two Kiros. Actually, let's have a word with Ian James.
Now let's talk Jeddah. What are your expectations for this circuit? Brand new, lots of new changes.
I think it's a good start in Sao Paulo. Mexico, not so much. So we've made some changes in our approach for this weekend, and it means that we're coming in with a good deal of confidence given the performance of the Nissan Power unit as well. But as we can see here from the times in FP1, still some performance to find.
We saw Taylor's kind of prowess in the rookie test last season, and obviously covering as well for a few races. Seems to have taken to it very quickly.
Yeah, and listen, we had that great opportunity to see him develop as our reserve and development driver. And then, you know, with Sam's incident, put him in the car in Monaco and then, of course, in Berlin. And he just has ticked every box all the way. So, you know, very excited to see what he can bring in the future. And together with Sam, I think they're a potent combination.
Well said. Thanks, Ian.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thanks, Ian.
Ian James down there as well. Yes, continue your point about Florian Modlinger.
Yes, so I spoke to him. So I asked a question in the press conference back in Madrid, asking him about the Kiros, because they are using Porsche powertrains this year, but they're using last year's powertrain. So the Gen 3 ones, not the Gen 3 Evos, and asking if they can still learn stuff from them using that one and vice versa. That Kiro can learn from the two from the factory and Andretti ones, and they can, which is quite interesting. Even though even though it's a brand new powertrain, and Kiro have got a year old one. They can still work together to improve Kiro's performance. So the benchmark for Kiro isn't going to be like early on in the season. They can still develop that powertrain and be competitive throughout the entire season, which I think is fantastic, because there was a lot of concern coming into this year that Kiro might be very quick at the start of the year and then tail off towards the end of it.
But now it looks like they're sort of hopefully going to stay in contention if they can just hold on.
A bit Super Aguri in was it 2007 when they had the Honda
was it 08?
car from the year before?
It must have been 08, because I didn't in 07 didn't they have that Arrows that was actually from 2002?
Not sure.
I can't remember. I know they had an Arrows at one point, or was that just a test car? But yeah, I do remember when Super Aguri back then, was it Sato overtaking Alonso in Montreal?
Yes.
They were such the underdog team. It was fantastic as the flag comes out to end the first official practice session of the weekend here. A bit of a lock-up for Evans down to turn 1 as well. A few drivers coming in. They're all stacked up together. They really want to get a slipstream run. And lights have blown, apparently. There's no LEDs on, so they've had a failure there. Hope it's not like Hong Kong all those years ago.
Well, I'm glad it's those lights and not any other lights around the circuit.
For Formula 1, there's 4,600 odd bulbs around this circuit. I presume that's probably about half for this one.
Yeah, I would imagine. I would imagine. So easy for me to say. I'll put my teeth in for tomorrow.
Everyone's knackered. I'm just happy that I get a couple of hours sleep now. Yay! Before being dragged.
And actually, Tommaso Volpe will be smiling a lot, because that's a 1-2 for the team.
Oh yes, so you're right. Yeah, great job from Nissan then, and going strong from earlier on in the session as well. Mortara goes third for Mahindra, so big up from them. Bird as well for McLaren.
Yeah.
Shot out of nowhere.
But yeah, Kushmini topped the rookie practice, so it's continuing good form for Mahindra. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Here's Roland.
A very good session to start with, so plenty of things to debrief down here, but good stuff.
Okay, good stuff. As we come through the back half of the circuit, 10, 11, 12, 13, and the lights now activate as what our Formula 1 grid hatchings become Formula E grid hatchings.
Ah, the lights are now working.
They are,
that's
yes.
good.
They had failed earlier on because they weren't activated with the red to signify the end of the session. So at least they are working now, although that other panel isn't, so just the start lights are working.
Yeah.
It always bugs me that they bought brand new lights, was it beginning of last season, maybe the season before? And it's just a square now. They're not spaced out enough for me. Sets everything off.
Yeah.
Still, you can't miss them in night racing. Only night racing.
No.
David Coulthard in my ears now as well, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Coming into tomorrow, as he's here for the doubleheader, alongside Karun Chanhok. Yep, thank you very much there, Tom. So, Nissan are they just going to go straight down? They are going to go straight down to Nicky on that one. And a lovely coming up feature as well, which is still part of their FE show. Okay, so we'll run you through the full times then. It is Oliver Rowland fastest on a 1:15.849, closely followed by his teammate Norman Nato, who goes second. Eduardo Mortara is third, Sam Bird fourth, Dan Ticktum's fifth, Pascal Verlaine sixth, Stoff Van Dorn seventh, eighth for Antonio Fish to Costa, Maximilian Gunther's ninth, and Mitch Evans goes into 10th. Nick Cassidy is 11th, and Nico Muller in 12th. David Beckman is 13th. Jake Dennis 14th. Nick DeVries is 15th. Jake Hughes 16th. Robin Fry 17th. Jean-Eric Verne 18th. Sebastian Buemi 19th. Zane Maloney 20th. Lucas de Grassi 21st. And Taylor Barnard in 22nd place. Okay, Jack. Thoughts going into tomorrow? What are you going to expect to see?
It's Formula E. It would be stupid of me to make predictions. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It's a new circuit for everyone, and so yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who gets it, who is quicker. It looked like Nissan are very good. Mahindra are in good form as well. So yeah, we'll have to see.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you, everybody, as well. We'll be back tomorrow for all the action. Practice 2, no, he said practice 3, qualify, and the Prix coming your way as well. We'll see you tomorrow then from all the action here from Jeddah for round 3 of the season. Bye-bye.